and at one stage thought I might lose it. I was absolutely certain I'd have plenty of nerve damage to go along with it. Well, I'm not wanting to be too graphic, but let's just say the flap of skin that was hanging off was exposing some of the bone. Um, but my wife bathed it in hypercal solution in some cooled boiled water, uh, flopped the skin back together. We put some hypercal cream over it. It was bandaged up, and I'll tell you what, when the bandage came off, I mean, yes, you could see that there was an injury, but you'd never know that that skin had ever parted from my thumb. Great stuff, and this is why I'm so keen on wanting to share it with you. As it stands at the moment, all these remedies, remember, they are available to us if we just walk into a natural health store or a chemist, Boots and Lloyd's, I think it was, that I checked not that long ago to make sure they were still on the shelves. And for anyone interested in ordering over the internet, I can recommend Helios, Helios, and the Queen's Own homeopathic suppliers, which is Ainsworth's in London. And make no mistake, it's not just Prince Charles that's got his head around a lot of these alternative remedies, especially homeopathy. The whole royal family make themselves advocates of it, whether they shout about it or not. The Queen Mother was a huge fan of homeopathy. You know, I guess they're probably told somewhere along the line, regent or not, you don't want to be taking too much money away from the pharmaceutical industries, eh? Whatever. And lastly, for the time being, comfrey, which I believe Poman referred to as knit bone, which I'm more comfortable with the term bone knit. Same difference. The remedy itself is symphytum, and one that I know myself and Pond both advocated our Phil with the cast to avail himself of, because this remedy again is so good in the healing of broken bones. And I'll actually go to my little repertory here and read you some specifics. Now, Dave Pondman would have gone through the looks and whatnot of the plant, so I'll just go straight on to the symptoms this homeopathic remedy of symphytum would be used for. Luckily enough for the homeopath, it's a very small symptom range, so it's quite an easy one to remember and married to the symptoms, of which the broken bone happens to be one. It both eases the pain and speeds up the healing of broken and fractured bones. You know, if that's not worthwhile keeping in your first aid cabinet, then hopefully you never break a bone. It's also very good for eye injuries, from direct blows to the eyeball. You know, knowing that you can have the medicine on hand to cope with something that you know your children are going to come running to you with one day, and you'll have the facility there to start the healing process, whether or not the injury's severe enough to continue them on to hospital or not. The application of the homeopathic remedy in the meantime would make the difference anyway. And I appreciate our learned orthodox medical colleagues would often disagree. In fact, I'm aware of a few instances where this has caused cause for concern. A homeopath's administered a medicine to an unconscious patient on the way to the hospital, and oh, you know, my goodness, lawsuit, You know, to my way of thinking, when you start putting legalities before someone's life, even if the legal argument is that by interfering you could be negatively affecting said person's life, when you truly know, I say truly know, um, yeah, I think Socrates would take issue with that. But when you become confident enough to use any form of medicine or healing, um, no one is going to shift you from that position with such arguments. Well, certainly not me, anyway. Anyway, that covers in brief the 4 plants that our Dave mentioned to us in his Ripples from the Pond last night. I hope that's brought you up to speed with them. If there's any specific questions, I really should be looking at the chat box, shouldn't I? So, Mrs. Curative's being involved there, and yep. Sorry guys, I can see I've been PM'd a couple of times. I'm looking now. Yep, got that one.
James Wong's the guy, Ray and Drugs.
Good man, Ray Moore, and James Wong was the guy who did the program Grow Your Own Drugs. Appreciate that. And yeah, I shall get back to you on that, Mark. Hi there, Delquar, by the way. I don't know if you realise, folks, but he's been under a lot of pressure recently from me to start his own show. And as I've said to Joe, it's not something I'm going to bring up and put him under any more pressure about, because I think what I've said in the past and what other TNS members have said has already been enough. So, you know, like I said, Joe, no more mentioning about you doing your own Joe show. That's entirely down to you. And the fact that you'd be very, very good at it is neither here nor there. Whatever you decide. One comment I would make on that, guys, anyone that's thinking of doing a show, and you really should, you know, at the moment I can say what I like, and it doesn't matter what you say about it. If I don't look at the chat box, I'm carrying on anyway. You could be doing exactly the same thing. All you got to do is have a word with Vince. Regarding that, though, the new radio schedule that our Mighty Mally, posted up the links just above the chat box, by the way, under radio listings schedule, introduces Chris Fielding, Mondays 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. live from Melbourne, Australia. So if you've not picked up on that yet, might be well worth listening to. Mondays 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. It gives a run through of the current shows, Mally's probably being the most accurately descriptive there, right the way through till the Sunday. But if you have a look at the times that they're scheduled for, you'll see that if your social circumstances allow, there's plenty of slots to be filled. You know, personally speaking, I mean, I haven't spoken to Vince about this, but I'll just voice my thoughts on air anyway, because that's what you can do when you're hosting a radio show. Is the Sunday afternoon slot. I believe you guys are involved in your Sunday meetings, usually on Sunday afternoon, and if it's not able to be broadcast live, I think that particular time, Sunday afternoon, early evening, before Vince actually goes on, it was with Harry last week, and incidentally I do think that's a good thing to keep up. The way you guys were just chewing the fat in general was good. You know, you covered a lot of ground there and made it interesting, so keep that up. But Sunday afternoon slot, folks, someone out there I'm sure would be able to squeeze that into their schedule. And you know, I'm kind of hoping that most people on TNS are here for roughly the same sort of reason as I am, and I know some other like-minded individuals I've spoken to are. But just to give you an idea, I wrote down a couple of thoughts about why it is I'm currently speaking on TNS radio, and the long road that seems to have led to it. Um, to me, it all comes down to what's wrong, what is wrong, and I've researched this internally as well as externally. I've contemplated um, the research that I've done on an external level, seeing what other maybe wiser minds have got to say on the subject, and pretty much it does come down to the spiritual view, which sometimes suggests that all is as it should be. I don't know if you ever watch or keep up to speed with Charlie Veitch, but it's something he's been heard to say quite a lot. Things are as they should be, and perhaps they are. But if they are, to me anyway, that also indicates that you have a personal choice. If things are how they should be, then that personal choice I felt that I needed to affect is also as it should be as well. And if you can affect change where you can, if you so wish, then my thoughts kind of got round to thinking, well, what sort of a being am I that once I'm aware that I may in some way be contributing to the suffering of others, I'm not saying directly, but however, once you've made yourself aware of the fact that you are in some way contributing to it, am I going to continue or not? I'm going to at least investigate further, to develop a clearer understanding of why and how there is suffering anyway. And that leads on to well, who is it that's causing the suffering? Because come on, for people to be starving to death in this day and age, if you really stop and think about it, it's just not right, is it? We've got satellites in space, for goodness sake, and we can't provide food to our fellow human beings to stop them from starving to death. So who is it that's causing it, and how are they causing it, or what are they causing it with? And probably most importantly, and I heard Harry pick up on this with Vin on Sunday night, why, which is probably the key word. Why are they causing it? And in curative terms, you're always looking for the why behind the why, the root cause in effect. Anyway, on the subject of why, it got me to thinking that as I've grown up, I've just like you guys, I guess, you've met lots of different sorts of characters and personalities and behavioural types, and it's down to you pretty much whether you decide you're going to emulate them or be part of their group. I don't know if it's the same for everyone in the awareness brigade, shall we say, but it was pretty much a solitary set of choices I seem to have made. I've not made a great deal of choices in